to the crux. Michelle Tuff for you, giving it up for Tommy Maddox.
The best home record in Monday Night Football history. As you prepare to take the field, what is it about this Monday night stage that brings out the best in your team, and how do you continue it tonight?
The fans, I'll tell you, they're the 12th man, and we got to start fast tonight and get these guys ready to go. So if we can start fast, get our fans into it, play mistake-free, hopefully come out with a victory.
Good luck tonight.
And out onto the field at Heinz Field come the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ready to take on the Indianapolis Colts with their own version of the triplets: Peyton Manning, Edgerrin James, Marvin Harrison. I'm Al Michaels. Welcome to Pittsburgh, where the Colts come in to tell
about Tommy Maddox. I mean, he's a part. But as Bill Cowher just said, they have to get off to a fast start. They have to play tough defense. They have to get Jerome Bettis going. And that's always a big part of the Steeler offense.
Now they play the Colts playing very well, but nobody really knows about the Colts. Nobody's thinking about the Colts.
At some point here, he has to go to be the Edgerrin James that we've known before, and then the Colts will have their true offense.
Coming back from knee surgery. So a good one tonight. The crowd in a frenzy already from Pittsburgh. The Colts and the Steelers on Monday Night Football. Wild things happening on Monday night this year. The longest play in the history of the NFL 3 weeks ago. Last week in Seattle. Terrell Owens, Mr. Sharpie. Tonight, Peyton Manning and the Indianapolis Colts, Jerome Bettis, and the Pittsburgh Steelers getting it on Monday night. Heinz Field sold out. More than 64,000 looking on here. And a few minutes ago, Melissa Stark got together with Peyton Manning about tonight's game.
Well, Peyton Manning spent his first 4 years as a pro under Jim Mora. Peyton, Tony Dungy comes in. You get off to a great start at 4-1. What's the biggest thing that he's brought to this team?
Well, his experience in Tampa. He's got a proven winning formula, and he's brought that here to the Colts. We're getting to know him as a head coach, preseason, training camp, and now the regular season. He understands what players are all about, and it really feeds to the players, and we're just trying to win a lot of games for him.
You are renowned for your preparation, your work ethic. Can you describe the passion that you have for the game and the feeling you have as you get ready for tonight?
Well, you just can't beat a night like tonight. Monday Night Football, playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think just the fact that I grew up around the game of football, I've always had a passion for it. I like to work at it. Obviously, it's fun to play, but I guess I'm kind of old school. I like to practice. You know, some of those linemen don't. So I feel fortunate to be able to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, and hope to do it for a long time, and hopefully we can keep winning.
Have a great night.
Thanks a lot, Liz.
All right, Al. Well, Manning trying to become the first Colts quarterback since Earl Morrall in 1968 to beat the Steelers here at home.
Yeah, I'd say this was a house of horrors for them, except they've never played in this stadium, but they didn't like playing in Three Rivers all of those years. Tony Dungy, with a lot of Pittsburgh connections, comes back to coach in Pittsburgh for the first time. He was with Tampa Bay for 6 seasons, and summarily bounced there when it appeared Bill Parcells was going to take the job, and of course he didn't. John Gruden now coaching the Bucs, and it didn't take very long for Dungy to get hired by the Indianapolis Colts, taking the place of Jim Mora, who was there for 4 seasons. Mora's years were interesting: 3-13, 13-3, 10-6, and then 6-10, sort of symmetrical. But they want to get out of that symmetry and take the next step. Todd Peterson to kick off for the Steelers. As you can see, the average drive start for the opposition, the 37-yard line, worst in the NFL. And Troy Walters is back to receive for the Colts. This kick, another fairly short one, taken at the 14-yard line, and great coverage at the 22-yard line as Walters gets buried by Lee Mays. As we take a look now at the Colts offense.
Peyton Manning, Tennessee.
Edgerrin James, University of Miami.
Marvin Harrison, Syracuse.
Kadri Ismail, Syracuse.
Reggie Wayne, University of Miami.
Marcus Pollard, the Bradley University.
Tari Glenn, Cal Berkeley.
Rick Demoine, Idaho.
Jeff Saturday, North Carolina.
Brian Dean, Northern Illinois.
Adam Meadows, Georgia.
The Colts offense, and they set up at the 22-yard line. Peyton Manning was pointing left and right, and then over the middle, and then talks to his left tackle and his right tackle.
Peyton Manning audibilizes more than anyone in football.
And he starts right here, and whatever he called, it works. because it turns into a 14-yard gain for Edgerrin James.
This is what we were talking about, that Edgerrin James has played every down this year, but here he gets a lead. Here's Edgerrin James here, and this is the thing that the Colts want to establish, that we can just take the ball, give it to Edgerrin James, and run him downhill. And that's exactly what they did on the first play.
Now from the 36. Manning, after a long count, it's James again. He runs into his own man and picks up a yard, maybe two. Here is the Pittsburgh defensive unit.
Aaron Smith, Northern Colorado.
Casey Hampton, Texas. Kimo Von Oelhoffen, Boise State.
Jason Gilden, Oklahoma State. James Ferrier, Virginia.
Kendrell Bell, Georgia.
Joey Porter, Colorado State. Ted Scott, Maryland. Lee Flowers, Georgia Tech.
Brent Alexander, Tennessee State.
Dwayne Washington, NC State.
Lee Flowers coming off a game in which he intercepted 2 passes last week at Cincinnati. 2nd down and 8. From the 38, quick flip toward Harrison, but batted away. Brent Alexander got up there to force the incompletion and set up 3rd down and 8 for Indianapolis.
Yeah, we were talking to Tom Moore last night, and he said the one thing that they want to do is stay on schedule, and that means not getting 3rd and long. And here Peyton Manning thinks he sees someone off, but that's really too tight to try and throw the ball out here like this. That's not going to work. I mean, you're looking, you have to see that, and Peyton Manning usually sees everything, but you can't throw that into that tight of coverage.
3rd down and 8, sets up out of the shotgun now. Steelers rushing 4. Good protection. Manning guns it, and it's incomplete because the coverage is good. Dwayne Washington blanketing Qadry Ismail. So after the initial 1st down on the game's opening play, Indianapolis forced to punt.
You know, and talking to the Steelers and their defensive coaches and Tim Lewis and so on, he said that one thing that they learned after those first 2 weeks is that they had to play their coverage a little tighter. And that's exactly what Dwayne Washington did on that last play.
Hunter Smith to punt, and one of the most exciting rookies in the league, Antoine Randall L, to run it back. And it is partially blocked and goes out of bounds up at about the 41-yard line. Joey Porter, who had a huge Sunday night game against Oakland 4 weeks ago, begins this one tonight with a blocked punt to set Pittsburgh up in Indianapolis territory.
Joey Porter is one of those guys that makes things happen. Watch him. He's on the left side here, just standing up right here. And he's going to come. And he takes an inside move there, and he takes the right point. You don't go where the guy is kicking from. You go to where the ball is going to leave his toe.
Goes into the books as a 3-yard punt because it went past the line of scrimmage. Hunter Smith will really love that as Boris makes the catch on the slant, close to a 1st down, a gain of 9, and it'll be 2nd and 1.
This is a big play. Watch Joey Porter again here. He takes the inside move and then dives and lays out. You know, and you have to have good quickness and good speed, but you have to be able to get your hands to work together to form that blocking pattern.
Smith, watching his punting average take a big chop. 2nd down and 1. From the 32, they give it to the bus, and Jerome Bettis picks up Pittsburgh's first down to the 28-yard line, tackled by James Canada. Tommy Maddox, who played at UCLA, came out after his sophomore season, was a rookie with Denver. He was their #1 pick to back up Elway back in '92. His first win as a starter almost 10 years later last week.
That's a different way to get here, isn't it?
Very. All-time roundabout. 1st and 10 from the 28-yard line. So Leary setting up in the slot on the left side, and they give the ball to Bettis for a minimal gain as we take a look at the Pittsburgh offense.
Tommy Maddox, UCLA. Jerome Bettis, Notre Dame.
Dan Kreider, New Hampshire.
Plexico Burris, Michigan State.
Hines Ward, Georgia.
Mark Bruner, University of Washington.
Wayne Gandy, Auburn.
Alan Faneca, LSU.
Jeff Harding, Penn State.
Kendall Simmons, Auburn.
Marvell Smith, Arizona State.
Steelers coming off last week's 34-7 trouncing of Cincinnati. But, of course, everybody trounces Cincinnati. 2nd and 9 from the 27-yard line. Maddox throwing to the outside, and his favorite target has been Plexico Burress, who caught 8 last week. He's on the mark right here, and that'll move the chains.
Yeah, you're just going to see Plexico Burress here on Walt Harris, and he's going to come up and run it out. Come up there and then just go right to the sideline. He gets that step on Harris. Harris looks like he kind of pulled up a little. As Tommy Maddox told us last night, he said, it's not that I look at Plexico Burress. He said, I like him because he's a big target. He said, but I just read the coverage and go where my progression takes me.
Big target, averaging close to 15 yards per reception. Now from the 17-yard line, back to Bettis. Picks up maybe 1, and let's take a look at the Indianapolis defensive unit.
Raheem Brock, Temple.
Brad Scioli, Penn State.
James Canada, Nevada. Chad Bradsky, Eastern Kentucky.
Mike Peterson, Florida. Rob Morris, Brigham Young. Marcus Washington, Auburn. Walt Harris, Mississippi State.
Jason Doane, Wisconsin.
Idris Bashir, Memphis.
David Macklin, Penn State.
Missing defensive tackle starter Josh Williams, who had hoped to play tonight. Foot injury, out for another week at least. 2nd down and 10. Maddox thrown, caught by Hines Ward for a touchdown.
Hines Ward will do some celebrating, Al.
Hines Ward at Heinz Field, 17 yards to put Pittsburgh on top.
There he started on one side. Hines Ward started on the right side, comes in motion. Now, this is the thing that you try and do, and you see Hines Ward is right here, and he came in motion from the right side to the left, just gets set as a ball snap, runs a little out and up or swing, and you see who was covering him? That was Chad Bradsky, the defensive end. That was a perfect call against that defense.
Perfect. Todd Peterson for the point after. I don't like that defensive scheme, I'll tell you that.
That's one of those zone dogs, and you will get caught in those matchups. This is one, and Tommy Maddox saw it.
Fans want to be. Pittsburgh, the confluence of the Three Rivers. Three Rivers Stadium, of course, is gone. Heinz Field. 2nd year home now of the Steelers. PNC Park. For 2 years now, the home of the Pittsburgh Pirates across the parking lot. Another short kickoff by Peterson, fielded at the 15-yard line, taken by Ricky Williams. There's another Ricky Williams in the league, and this is the other Ricky Williams who takes it back to the 29-yard line. This one a rookie out of Texas Tech. So Manning coming back out onto the field early in the first, 7-0 Pittsburgh. To nothing after the block punt, and then Maddox takes them down the field with alacrity. And from the 29-yard line now, Indianapolis begins its 2nd drive. Manning with a lot of gesturing, as is his wont at the line of scrimmage, flings it to the outside, and there is a beautiful toe dance by Marvin Harrison to come up with the reception and stay in bounds 17 yards.
Let's look at the touchdown again and see how they got in the bind. Here's Hines Ward starting over here. They're going to overload and blitz here, but Hines Ward comes in motion and runs a pattern here, and Chad Bradsky has to come off with him. See, they have the coverage over here. Now, when he goes in motion, look what Bradsky has to do. Bradsky's a defensive end. And they really caught him in a bind with a great play for the right situation.
270-pounder covering a 200-pounder. And now James across the 50 gets into Pittsburgh territory, tackled at the 48-yard line.
There one more time. Here's Chad Bradsky, and this is a situation, if you're a defensive lineman, this is a situation you don't want to be in, where you have to cover a wide receiver all the way down the field. That's when you don't expect, and you say to coaches, hey, let's get rid of that one. We have to make another adjustment when they go in motion.
Get rid of it immediately. Split back, 2nd and 4 here. Detron Smith is the other back with James. And it's James hauling in the pass, taking it to the 41-yard line. So the guy who led the league in rushing in each of his first 2 seasons, then went on the shelf last year with a torn ACL, coming back this year and looking pretty good.
Well, he is tonight. I think he had a slow start, and it was, he was playing every down. He was making his cuts, but he wasn't reading things as quickly, I don't think. I mean, he didn't have the feel of the flow of the game, but early in this game, you get the feeling that he's getting it.
He is their horse. He carries the ball almost every time. It's a rushing play, and this time on a pass play, he can't haul it in right there in his hands. And there's a marker down. It's the first penalty of the game, and it's back at the 50-yard line. Walt Coleman, the referee, signaling holding against Indianapolis.
And this is a thing that, Tony Dungy has been, concerned with.
Holding, 71, offense, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
Is they can't tie things together. I mean, they get a play here, they get a play there, but they can't take the ball. And Tom Moore was saying last night, this is what we want to do, is be able to take the ball, go down the field, and score a touchdown. But en route to going down the field or en route to the end zone, a lot of times something bad happens, and it just happened.
Ryan Dean with a penalty. Happened a lot last week. They scored on their first possession, got a touchdown, and then 5 field goals the rest of the game, but that was enough to beat Baltimore at the end. Now it's 1st and 20, and Manning sets up the screen. Here's James across the 50, and Edgerrin takes it to the 48-yard line. That's a gain of about 4. James Farrier making the tackle, the former New York Jet.
Adrian James is one of those running backs that gets low, and you never get a shot on him. I mean, all these linebackers and defensive linemen, you always got to, you say, we got to get him, but he always moves his body that you're always glancing off it, and you never get that square, solid hit.
First-round draft pick in '99, and people were shocked because he went ahead of Ricky Williams, the other Ricky Williams in that draft. Bill Polian making the call, and it turned out to be a pretty good one. 2nd and 17. James will get a slip move there, but nowhere to roam as he takes it only to the 46-yard line, a gain of a couple.
Yeah, we were talking to Tim Lewis, the defensive coordinator, the other day, and he said this is the thing about Edgerrin James is he'll make 3 cuts, as we see here. He gets low. He'll stop. He'll cut back as he does here. Then he'll cut back again to the original play side. He goes play side, cut back, and play side. And I'll tell you, this Steelers defense was ready and waiting for that one.
Colts only 1 of 16 in 3rd and 10 or more. The league average is 20%. So 1 out of 5 converted around the league, but the Colts 1 of 16 here. And on 3rd and 15, there is another incompletion. Reggie Wayne, the intended receiver.
I was just going to say, he's lucky that wasn't intercepted, because you talk about throwing into a crowd. There were 4 Steeler defensive backs there. This is one thing, but sometimes on 3rd down, you tend to do this because you know you're going to have to punt if you don't make this completion. But look at that. There's 1, 2, 3, and there was a 4th guy there.
Antoine Randall sets up at the 10-yard line to run back the punt. Hunter Smith, whose last punt was partially blocked and went into the books as a 3-yard punt. This time sends one toward the end zone for a touchback. So with 6:41 remaining in the opening period, the Steelers will have the ball at their own 20-yard line with Pittsburgh on top of Indianapolis 7-0 on Monday Night Football.
What have you been up?
There's some frequency, John. 11 guys right now in the Steelers huddle. In a moment, though, Tommy Maddox will join them and somebody will come out.
Or the other thing that they can do is they can use either Hines Ward or Randall L as a quarterback. See, so last week they got called for this because they said you have to have a quarterback in the huddle. You don't have to have a quarterback in the huddle. You can only have 11 men in the huddle. So now you see they do bring 2 out and they put Tommy Maddox in. But somewhere, and I bet somewhere in this game, they'll run a play with Hines Ward or Randall L as a quarterback.
I don't doubt that. Hines Ward, like Cordell Stewart, you could call him Slash. You could call Randall L Slash. 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. Maddox guns it over the middle to Plexico Burris. And these two guys look like they have worked together for about 10 years, much less 4 weeks.
And you know, and sometimes that just happens. I mean, you start, and then you start to feed a guy, and then the guy works a little harder for you. And I think that's what Plexico Burris is doing now. That that he's never been that consistent guy. You know, last year he would drop some here and there because he didn't feel that he was the go-to guy all the time. I think since Tommy Maddox, if you get open and you're Plexico Burris, he's going to get you the ball.
From the 38-yard line, toss to Bettis, and then on a reverse, it's Hines Ward. Maddox looking to block, and Hines Ward takes it up to the 46-yard line. So a razzle-dazzle and an 8-yard gain. It'll be 2nd down and 2. Receptions with Maddox, as you take a look at the comparison there, with Maddox taking over in the Cleveland game, 3rd game of the season, 18, 3 times as many as he had with Cordell. And tonight, he has 3. Cordell Stewart for the moment.
Talked to Cordell Stewart before the game and asked him how he's doing. He said, well, I'm just hanging in here.
Trying to keep a stiff upper. 2nd down and 2. As Bettis takes it up to the 49-yard line. He's hurting, and you know he's hurting. There's no question about it, but he's trying to handle it as classily as he can. But I mean, it has to be devastating for him.
And he is. I mean, I watched him practice, and I was looking for those kinds of things. You know, how he relates to the coaches, how he relates to the other players, and how the players relate to him. And I'll tell you, having been there and observed everything was very positive.
Stewart started the opener, started the 2nd game against Oakland, started game 3 against Cleveland, then came out and Maddox led them to an overtime win. Good play fake. Maddox, a great ball handler, throws into double coverage, and that's incomplete. So he tried to get it to Burris, but the Colts are there. Bashir and Macklin double coverage on the play.
Yeah, that was one of the things that here that started. Once you get the running game going, then you can get the play fake. Now watch Tommy Maddox hear how he fakes to Bettis. Bettis fakes like he has the ball. That holds the linebackers, but you're not working on the linebackers. You're working on the defensive backs, and he threw right into a double coverage. That was one that he did force.
Bettis served going underneath with that kind of a play fake. 2nd down and 10 from the 49-yard line. Short drop this time. Quick flip over the middle. And he utilizes his tight end. That's Mark Bruner, their #1 draft choice back in '95. Great blocker. Doesn't catch that many balls. Takes it just shy of the 1st down of the 43-yard line.
And he looked like he didn't catch that many balls because I think he fumbled it after he got hit. You know, those guys that are those blocking tight ends, when they don't catch many passes, and they don't get hit very often with the ball. What the official said was it was down by contact, but and they really only have 1 tight end. I mean, one of the things they wanted to do, the Steelers did tonight, was use 2 tight ends, but the only active guy they have is Dan O'Leary as a backup tight end, and he's their long snapper.
3rd down and a short 2, and Maddox gets taken down as the pass gets away. Raheem Brock came in. He was blocked. There's a flag, and then he hurdled the blocker and was able to make contact with Maddox as he got rid of the football.
Raheem Brock is something. He's the 7th-round draft choice. He's a rookie. He was drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles. They didn't have any money. They couldn't sign him, so they waived him. And look at the play that he makes there. I hate that pass protection where the tackle blocks down and you try and cut that end. I think you have to block that defensive end.
Defense. 15 yards. 1st down.
Maddox takes that kind of pass protection, too. That's Marcus Washington away from the play with a 15-yard face mask and an automatic 1st down.
Yeah, I think what you have to do is if you have an end there, the tackle has to block out. Now, when he blocks down, you let this guy come free. I don't think that's a good pass protection. You see what you're doing? You're letting him come free. You block your tackle down, who would normally block him. Then you bring your back, Jerome Bettis having to block him.
1st down, Pittsburgh from the 28-yard line. Maddox going for 6. Incomplete. Hines Ward the intended receiver, covered by Walt Harris. Next week, across the state we go to Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. The Eagles coming off their win yesterday against Tampa, a mark of 4-2. The Giants off their bye week, 3-3. So Pittsburgh tonight, Philly next week. Colts Redskins, the game on Sunday night on ESPN.
I'll tell you one thing about that Eagle team. They get after you, don't they? On defense, the defensive coordinator, Jim Johnson, he is a blitzing fool.
And they own Tampa Bay. Out of the gun as they bring Antoine Randall L in. Now, he was a quarterback at Indiana, drafted by the Steelers to be a wide receiver. So you have Randall L. You have Hines Ward, a quarterback, sometime quarterback at Georgia. We all know about Cordell Stewart. So a guy like Randall L. is a guy you can line up from time to time in the backfield like here.
That's what they do. They line him up in the backfield, and Tommy Maddox, the quarterback, is out like a wide receiver. And then Randall L. just takes the ball. Now, out of that, he can either run it as he did there, or he can run it and throw it.
3rd down and 6. Now more conventionally in the gun. You've got Maddox. 4-man rush. Good protection. Open man. He hits Hines Ward, and he'll move the chains to the 16-yard line. Tackled by Walt Harris. 1st down, Pittsburgh.
Hines Ward is a complete wide receiver. I mean, he does everything that you have to do, and that's not just getting open and catching passes. He is probably the best blocking wide receiver in football. And, you know, and that's kind of a contagious thing. If you're going to have a long run, and I've always said this, if there's a long run, a wide receiver is going to make a good block.
1st and 10. Ball at the 15-yard line. Ward is the motion man. To the ground. To Bettis. Bulls his way to the 8-yard line behind the Dan Kreider block. Kreider the fullback, and they're inside the 10 with under 2 minutes to play, and a 7-0 Pittsburgh lead in the 1st period.
You know, he runs right in there behind his all-pro left guard, Alan Faneca. Watch him. He's a left guard right here. He's going to get a block there, and then he's going to come off and get another one right there. And Bettis gets in behind his first block. Then he gets in behind his second block.
Kreider took Washington out of the play. Washington, the key man on this drive, with that 15-yard face mask, an automatic 1st down. Pittsburgh tries to cash in, and Bettis will take it to the 2.5-yard line, and that's a 1st and goal coming up.
You know, Jerome Bettis was saying the other day that he runs best when he gets the ball in bunches. And that's exactly what he's getting right here. He's getting the ball in bunches. And when he can get the ball like this and get his shoulder square, he is as tough a runner as there can be, because this is a tailback in a fullback's body, and when he gets square like this, he is as big a load as a load can be.
Coming off a groin injury last year and a long rehab during the offseason, looking a lot better as Bettis over the last 2 weeks. Touchdown, Jerome.
The left side of the line makes a great block, but so does the fullback. Watch him right there, Dan Kreider. He's going to make the lead. Boom, right there. He's the guy that opens and creates that hole for Jerome Bettis.
2 possessions, 2 TDs. Peterson for the point after. So a block kick and a face mask penalty have been the keys on each of the drives. There's a flag here on the extra point.
And Jerome Bettis running in bunches. He said last week that he hurt his knee against Cincinnati. But there was no way he was going to come out. He said that'd be like a starving man at a dinner table. He said there's no way you're going to leave the table if you're starving. He said there's no way he was going to leave that game against the Bengals.
On the defense, 12 men on the field. That penalty will be assessed on the kickoff. Extra point is good.
Jerome Bettis to the end zone. 14-0. Tonight, right here on the American Broadcasting Company. Al Michaels, John Madden, Melissa Stark. Pittsburgh temperature 48 degrees at kickoff. Steelers 2 drives, 2 scores. Beautiful shot. Look at that, John. I mean, it's as pretty a city at night as any in America.
Yeah, and then we even have a shot of the confluence you were talking about.
Allegheny, Monongahela, in Ohio. Kickoff taken by Troy Walters back up to the 25-yard line. With 41 seconds remaining in the opening period in Pittsburgh, PA.
Chili's baby back ribs.
Thursday, Diane Sawyer on the trail with the real crime scene.
College football doubleheader Saturday at noon Eastern time. Notre Dame against number 13 Florida State. Then in the second half of the doubleheader, regional action, Ohio State, Penn State. Key regional next Saturday. From the 25 now with the period winding down, Edgerrin James takes the ball up to the 27-yard line.
You know, the Steeler defense really has Edgerrin James down now. You know that move that we're talking about where he goes play side, then he goes cut back, and then back to play side. And I'll tell you, they've been waiting play side, they've been waiting cut back, and they've been waiting second play side every time.
Your perfect opening period for Pittsburgh. Quite the opposite, obviously, for Indianapolis. In the waning seconds, Manning throws. That's caught by Harrison, and the first quarter ends with a first down. Indianapolis will begin the second period from their own 39-yard line. End of 1 in the Steel City. Pittsburgh 14, Indianapolis nothing. And Monday Night Football resumes after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
About phone service, about people. Now we get to show you.
By Budweiser. No, there's only one game in town tonight. Top of the screen, that's PNC Park, where the Pittsburgh Pirates play. Then there's the parking lot. And then we are right here, Heinz Field.
And you know what used to be where the parking lot is now? That was the Three River Stadium. Right?
Three River Stadium, which you remember all too well, John, from the 39-yard line. Edgerrin James starts the second quarter by getting it up to the 46-yard line. That's a gain of 7. And, well, I don't want to remind you, John, what happened in that parking lot.
Well, I'm not in, but I'm going to show you. This is about right at this point right here is where Franco Harris picked up that ball and ran it into this end zone right here. We were over on this sideline.
Insult to injury. I think they parked buses on that spot right now.
Among other things.
2nd and 3. James to the 48-yard line. We're talking, of course, about the immaculate reception, and here it is. 30 years ago, it's hard to believe, back in '72. Playoff game, end of the game. Oakland's ready to advance. Bradshaw throws. And to this day, what in the world happens here? Does Franco grab it? Does he take it out of the air? Did it bounce?
No. Franco caught it, but it was whether the ball hit Frenchie Fuqua or not, because in those days you couldn't have double touch. But, you know, you have to let things go in life. You have to forget about it. It doesn't bother you anymore. Let the Colts and the Steelers play.
You should have had the challenge rule. 3rd and 1, and that's a gain that should be enough for a first down up to the 49. You know, one thing, John, no matter what rule they'd had in, I mean, you talk about indisputable visual evidence. There was none of that on that play.
You know what my point, and again, I'm gonna let that play go. But
sure you are.
At some point you have to. But what my point was is they didn't call anything, and then they had a meeting like down there in that end zone in the parking lot, and then the referee went to the Pirate dugout and he got on the phone and he talked to someone. And he came out and said touchdown. Now, if you didn't know what it was when it happened, how did you find out what it was? That was my only question.
That was the first utilization of what would become, of course, the replay. You weren't supposed to go to a phone for upstairs.
No, and I mean, if they did, they never admitted it. That, you know, that they looked at anything. And if they did look at anything, you know, I don't know what it was or what they saw. Anyway, you know, until I die, I'm always gonna wonder, you know, what they saw, what they said, what happened.
Play fake after the first down. Manning goes it to the right side here, and a flag is thrown because Edgerrin James was tripped up by Kendrell Bell coming back from an injury. Bell in the starting lineup tonight. NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year last year.
And I'll tell you, the Steelers are happy as heck to have Kendrell Bell back. Here he is right here, and you see that he comes up. I think he's going to get him, and then when James turns up, he has to turn up with him. Now, I don't know, did he grab his ankle down there?
Looked like it.
Hey, when you get open field with Edgerrin James, you say, we got to do something.
2 minutes for tripping. Ball at the 38.
Audible's coming.
Should have gone back to the original play. Next to no gain there. Just to wrap up the immaculate reception. Fred Swearingen, that was the referee?
Yes, that was the referee.
Is he in your will?
No. I mean, it's just, it's a thing. And again, I say you have to let it go. We had a lot of great games with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I knew it at the time. But then you think, well, it's because they're yours. But then all these years later, you look, and there's probably 15 players that played in those games and are in the Hall of Fame now.
Sure.
And this was a great venue. I mean, these were great fans and great teams and a great place to play.
Trips left on 2nd and 9. Manning hit as he throws to the end zone and whacked away at the last moment by Dwayne Washington. Ismail was the intended receiver, and Dwayne Washington, who's done yeoman work now, 9 years out of North Carolina State, bats it away.
Yeah, the ball was whacked away on that end, but look what happened on this end. Peyton Manning got whacked away. And that really gets a quarterback. You get him twice. You get him when you hit him, and then you get him when he hits the ground.
And Washington, the defensive back, he is a durable man. 102 consecutive starts for him, longest current streak by any defensive back in the NFL. Play clock ticking down. Manning takes the snap out of the gun. Under pressure. Throw is low, but caught by James, who fights his way to the 30-yard line, but still short of the first down.
And if you look at 3rd and long, and we were talking to Tom Moore last night, and he said those are the situations that that we want to stay away from. We're not good in 3rd and long. You'd think with Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison they would be, but he said we want every situation to be a manageable situation. We want to stay in those types of downs, and they haven't.
This has been a haunted house for kickers, but here is Mike Vanderjagt, one of the very best, a 48-yard field goal attempt to try to make it 14-3, and even Vanderjagt, currently the most accurate field goal kicker in the history of the National Football League, he can't put it through. Really didn't even come close. Wide right. Still 14-0 Pittsburgh. At the beginning of the game tonight, Bill Cowher stressed to Melissa Stark the importance of getting off to a fast start, and the Steelers have. Cowher's in his 11th season as the coach here. When he has had a 10-point lead in a game, his record is 69-1.
Why? Because that's when they can play Steeler football. Run the ball, play pass, strong defense, play downhill.
Maddox on 1st down, and Ward had it on his fingertips, but Nick Harper was there to break it up. Very specifically, more than 10 points, which is, of course, the case right now. There is Cowher. The only loss, believe it or not, was to Cincinnati late last year when they lost 26-23. And there is where Cowher ranks with John, your mark, 75-3-3 when you had a 10-point lead.
Well, what the thing is when you get that lead, then that's when you wanted a strong offensive line and running game, and you just let them take it over for you.
2nd and 10. Screen, and they're lucky they get away with that one into a lot of traffic as Bettis somehow comes up with the football and gets it out to the 45-yard line.
Bill Cowher was saying last night that one of the reasons that they're so good at throwing screens now with Tommy Maddox is because he's immobile. The defense knows that he's immobile, so he said they really come after him. And then when they, that's what you want on a screen. You want the rushers to really get up and get after you so you can throw this kind of pass. Jerome Bettis kind of got caught up in traffic there.
Now a Mazzaro comes into the game in the backfield to flank Maddox out of the shotgun. 3rd down and 3 from the 45-yard line. And a little shovel to Antoine Randall into Indianapolis territory. Loses the ball but out of bounds. Pittsburgh retains it. 1st down at the 40-yard line.
He is an exciting player, and they can do so many things with Antoine Randall. What they did is they started him out as a slot, then they shift him back, and he's right here. So he becomes in the backfield. Now they're just going to take the shotgun, pitch it out to him here, pull, and then just with his speed, he just gets that corner. And once he gets the corner, he has a 1st down.
College quarterback, Indiana, ran back a kickoff last week, 99 yards for a touchdown in Cincinnati. From the 40 now, Maddox to Burris, and that's close to a 1st down. And let's check in with Melissa.
Well, how fast does Antoine Randall get this? At this year's NFL scouting combine, which all NFL hopefuls attend, he was tested in speed and agility. His time was so fast that some scouts thought that they'd mistimed it, so he did it again. His time was even faster, but he said that the hardest thing to learn in switching from quarterback to wide receiver is that it's not all about speed. He has to be more patient, and Bill Cowher's the first to acknowledge that he is the type of playmaker that they have not had here in a long, long time.
40 rushing touchdowns, 40 passing touchdowns at Indiana University for their 2nd-round pick. Maddox throws his main man, Plexico Burris, and he takes it down to the 15-yard line. And Maddox tonight is 9 out of 12, and 5 of those 9 have gone to Plexico.
Yeah, what Pittsburgh's doing now is what teams did to them early in the season. Now they're just throwing every down, and that was an interesting play. That was a kind of a bootleg without a bootleg. He's going to come out here and fake to the left, and then he's going to throw the slant to the right. They'll try and get the action. He got Bettis going to the left, like action was going that way, and then he came back and threw the Burris to the right.
1st and 10 from the 15. Bettis stopped at the line of scrimmage by Raheem Brock. You look at Tommy Maddox. Here's a guy came up as a 21-year-old out of his sophomore year in UCLA, out early in the draft, out of football for a number of seasons. Didn't start for the Broncos at all in '93, then with the Rams briefly, the Giants in '95. Out of football for 4 seasons, the Arena League in 2000, and the XFL, where he was the MVP for the LA Extreme in 2001. And Pittsburgh's backup last year, now the starter. Over the middle, Kreider. And he's close to a 1st down to the 5-yard line.
Well, one thing, he's getting great protection tonight, and he's very, very comfortable. I think they started out running Jerome Bettis, and I think that got him tight and playing the run. The Colts are, and now he's not getting any pass rush at all. And he can just get back there and just look for his receivers. He's throwing to his wide receivers. Here he gives a bone to his fullback. You see the time that he has and the pocket that he has? Watch this. He just comes back, 5-step drop, stop, and throw. And there's no one in a white jersey around him.
Passing those bones around. He's used 5 different receivers. Bettis, and the bus untouched. No traffic.
The Steelers thought that they could wear them down because they're bigger and stronger, but I think they were thinking of the 3rd and 4th quarter. They looked like to me that they have already worn this Indianapolis Colt defense down. As you said, Al, there was no one that touched Jerome Bettis.
Bettis into the end zone on his 9th carry. He has scored twice. Peterson for the point after. And we're only halfway through the 2nd quarter in Pittsburgh. It's been all Pittsburgh. 3 possessions, 3 touchdowns, 21-0. Blackjack.
morning. Want to get away? Now you can. Fly Southwest Airlines for just $39 to $99 each way when you purchase by October 24th.
You are now free to move about the country.
Now's your chance.
Give it a whack.
To get the special edition DVD.
It's gonna be fun.
Loaded with special features that'll knock your socks on.
I'm just kidding you, pal.
Adam Sandler is Mr. Deeds. Buy it October 22nd on DVD and video.
Jeep Wrangler owners speak their own language. Warning, do not attempt any of what you are about to see.
Kick yourself in the head, wee man.
In 4 days. Jackass, the movie. Rated R. In theaters everywhere this Friday.
Having daughters can be very complicated for a dad.
Don't you read those parenting books I give you?
No, I just skipped to the chapters on how to keep them from having sex.
8 Simple Rules, ABC Tuesday.
Well, it raised the bar and it set new standards, and you won't believe what's in store for you now on an all-new NYPD Blue. That's tomorrow, 10 Eastern and Pacific, 9 Central, right here on ABC. NYPD Blue tomorrow. Kickoff bounces and fielded at the 14 by Troy Walters. And he brings it back up to the 25-yard line. So the Colts have dug a major hole for themselves with 7:31 to play in the half. Down by 21.
Gee, honey, you never got homesick before?
I know. I thought they said you hurt your right leg.
Oh, yeah.
With all its comfort and luxury, nothing brings a family together like Chrysler Town & Country.
Band camp.
We better go.
Now from Chrysler, our 7-year or 70,000-mile powertrain limited warranty, because love is a commitment.
Take all the time you want, folks.
We'll take this one in red. Beautiful choice, sir.
No, black.
Black.
That's actually my favorite color.
Red. Definitely red.
When software lets you quickly give customers what they want, that's one degree of separation. That's business with .NET from Microsoft.
Possibly won. I thought that we could be friends, but now I know it was a fraud. Yeah, I'm alright. It's just the way that I was taught. I'm trying to make it in this right, but I'm receiving no help. What you say, whoa, then you say yeah. Throw your hands in the air. What you say, whoa.
Pepsi Blue, a new fusion of berry and cola. Pepsi Blue, it's the mix.
Get your Halloween treats early this year from Charlie Brown and the whole Peanuts gang.
There he is!
It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, followed by Winnie the Pooh, Friday at 8, 7 Central on ABC.
College football, big doubleheader, Notre Dame, number 6, Florida State 13. First half of the doubleheader, those games in the second half, including Penn State, Ohio State. What a job Ty Willingham, who coached at Minnesota with Tony Dungy for a few seasons. What a job he's done in South Bend.
And that was an interesting thing that Tony Dungy said about Tyrone Willingham last night.
Manning throws over the middle, hits the tight end Marcus Pollard up to the 41.
He said that they had their first staff meeting with the Minnesota Vikings. Denny Green was the head coach, and Tony Dungy said he came out of that room, and they had some, good Brian Billick and, Willie Shaw. They had all these guys, and Tony Dungy said he came out of that first staff meeting and said Tyrone Willingham is the best coach on this staff.
He has awakened the echoes. Here's James, runs into his own man, runs up the back of Ryan Dean, and is taken down in the backfield. Well, Maddox is off to a brilliant start tonight. Peyton having his troubles getting on track here. 111 yards from Maddox.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier. And again, I just feel the Colts are 4-1, but I just haven't felt that they've really gotten on track, especially offensively. I mean, this whole season, this first half, obviously, but they've kind of played like this all year, where they have some plays and something bad happens.
2nd and 13, and that is caught. Fingertip grab by Ismail, and he runs right into Jason Gilden up at the 46-yard line.
That was a good open field tackle. You know, tackling, you know, maybe has slipped in the NFL, and the toughest tackles are always those open field tackles. And that's what Jason Gilden had to make there. And one thing about Steeler defense, they have always been great tacklers. Those are the two best tackling teams in pro football, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
3rd down 4 from the 47-yard line. Manning out of the gun. Throws, caught, 1st down, and that's Reggie Wayne, who was their 1st-round pick, one of their 2 first-round picks last season, making the catch, moving the chains into Pittsburgh territory.
Yeah, Chad Scott, the corner, was in coverage, and he fell down. And that's one thing, you know, that happens on this field. You do have some guys slip and fall down. So as a quarterback, when you can see that, when you get that advantage, you have to get the ball to that guy.
Well, the surface is divot-friendly.
I'll tell you, they have a divot patrol here every time out. They got about 20 guys run out and pick up divots.
Like during the commercials. James for the 38. Well, this is also used as the home of the Pitt Panthers, so a lot of college football played here. Melissa, what do you know about the horticulture situation around Pittsburgh?
Well, as you just mentioned, they share it with University of Pittsburgh, and so it certainly gets a lot of wear and tear. But I talked to ex-Steelers kicker Chris Brown about it, and he said, you know, the hardest part is that it's a sand-based field, and so when the grass gets torn up, it doesn't grow back. So that's the hardest part. It's very slippery, and a number of players out here tonight have been changing their cleats to longer cleats, Al.
Manning just ran into his fullback, still on his feet. Hits James. It's an ugly-looking play, but at least he avoided a sack, avoided a fumble, and they moved the ball to the 34-yard line. Ran into Jim Finn.
Yeah, those were the 2 key words, I think, ugly and avoid, because he starts here, and Jim Finn, as you said, is his fullback, and he's going to come back here, and doink, he runs right into him, bounces off him, picks up a block there, starts to go to the right, scrambles back to the left, and throws a bullet. Peyton Manning, he's something.
3rd and 4. They need a conversion here, but they're going to need to score before the half. Down by 3 touchdowns. He slings it. It is caught. It's a 1st down. The catch made by Troy Walters, the run-back specialist, at the 24, and he takes it to the 21 for a 1st down.
You know, and I think this is exactly what the Colts have to do. I mean, you're down 21-0, but it's still the first half. So you have plenty of time. You know, as I always say in golf, there's a lot of golf left to be played. There's a lot of football left to be played. So you don't want to panic. You don't want to press. You don't want to force things. You just want to keep playing, but you want to start just picking up 1st down. Then if you do that, then the other stuff comes.
From the 21-yard line, the fake to James to buy time. Then to the outside. That's Pollard. He takes it to the 19. It's a short gain of 2. Tackled by Joey Porter.
Another example of good tackling.
First 70 games, and that's how much Peyton Manning has played. And there you see where he stands. Most touchdown passes. Marino, of course, on top. But Favre, Johnny Unitas, and Manning all there together.
That's a good grouping, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
Tell you, that was an ugly sight, though, seeing Brett Favre taking off in a cart yesterday.
Yeah, but I think he's going to be all right. But what about Manning? I'm not sure he's going to be all right after that whack by Alexander.
Yeah, we talk about the things that this Steeler defense does. The other thing is blitz. That was Brent Alexander, the free safety. And they bring their blitzes. They bring them from anywhere. Here's Alexander coming from this side. The blocker does here. He makes a little move on the blocker, and he puts that helmet right underneath Peyton Manning's chin.
3rd down and 12, and they won't get the play off before the 2-minute warning.
Peyton Manning has taken some shots this first half.
He has. He was a little slow in getting to the line there. They may have tried to run a play before the 2-minute warning, but Peyton needs the extra few seconds here. 21-zip.
So let's turn to page 7 of our proposal, where we feel...
Page 7?
Should be the next page you have.
We don't see it. No.
Hold on.
There it is.
Introducing Chrysler PT Cruiser Turbo. With an all-new 215 horsepower turbocharged engine, it can get you cross-town, cross-country, anywhere in the blink of an eye.
Let's move on to page 11.
Page 11?
He's on Verizon Wireless. She's on Verizon Wireless. She is too. So is he. There's over 30 million people on Verizon Wireless nationwide. And now you can have 1,000 anytime mobile-to-mobile minutes to call any of them you want. Plus, get 4,000 night and weekend minutes on the America's Choice Network for $39.99 monthly access. And get a great Kia Sarah phone for just $49.99. So now all you have to do is decide who you're going to call first. Verizon Wireless. We never stop working for you.
Can you hear me now? Good.
Wednesday and my wife and kids, it's
Attack of the Loser Boyfriend! You can call me 1040, easy.
My Wife and Kids, 8/7 Central, ABC Wednesday.
Lexus halftime show coming up. 7 days to Monday night. Tonight featuring Tommy Maddox's week.
Weather be like this Monday night, it'd be nice. See, it's not very funny when your receiver's laughing at you as you're trying to block for him.
Tommy Maddox, what an amazing story, and it continues tonight.
Yep, and he's enjoying everything. And I think that sometimes, you know, just like a lot of things in life, you have to get away from it, you have to lose it to realize how much you miss it and how important it is to you.
And he is savoring every second. 3rd down and 12 now for Indianapolis, trying to get back into the game, trying to get a score before halftime. Manning out of the shotgun. Blitzing. Everybody coming. He gets it away, and that's incomplete. Intended for Kadre Ismail. Over the middle, it'll be 4th down.
And they're going to have to adjust their pass protection at halftime because the Steelers have them on their heels now. So they're bringing every kind of blitz. They're bringing overloads from one side. They're bringing safeties. They're bringing corners. And in this first half, as I said just before, Peyton Manning has taken way too many hits.
That shot from Aaron Smith. Now a 41-yard attempt by Mike Vanderjagt, who earlier missed one from 48. But this one is right down the middle. And Indy finally gets on the board, but they're limited to 3 and still trail by 18 with 150 to the half in Pittsburgh.
Today, your home is probably your best investment. So today, there's no better time to come to Lowe's. Only Lowe's sells Olympic paint, the same Olympic famous for stains. Olympic paint is thick and durable. Lowe's Paint Center will match any color and help you paint like a pro. And Lowe's has low prices every day, guaranteed. That's our promise. Lowe's, improving home improvement.
Now get a $5 mail-in rebate with every gallon of Olympic interior and exterior paint.
In Wendy's hometown, yoga class attendance is down, and the aromatherapy center is no more. But Wendy's is packed because our mozzarella chicken supreme, a whole breast filet mozzarella and Parmesan sauce is so delicious, it's taking people to that higher level. And finally, the clothing optional run through the wildflowers has been canceled. Thank goodness. Wendy's mozzarella chicken supreme, it's better here. And remember, our pickup window's open till midnight or later, so you can eat great, even late.
On November 1st, let the reindeer games begin. Tim Allen, the Santa Claus 2. Rated G.
it mine.
Your future, your way. AXA.
Wednesday's early Halloween with a scary daughter.
It walks like a cheerleader. It's dressed like a cheerleader. Well, it's ignoring me like a cheerleader.
George Lopez, ABC Wednesday, 8:30, 7:30 Central.
Aerial coverage tonight provided by Budweiser with Heinz Field, our site on the left, PNC Park, home of the Pirates, all lighted on the right. Allegheny and Monongahela rivers at the confluence of the Ohio River. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on a beautiful autumn night. 14-yard line. Kick taken there by Lee Mays, a rookie from the University of Texas, El Paso. He gets it up to the 29. Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Madden NFL 2003 from EA Sports. It's in the game. Jeep, the most respected, honored, and heroic 4x4s out there, only in a Jeep 4x4. Verizon Wireless, we never stop working for you. And Michelob Ultra, lose the carbs, not the taste. Al Michaels, John Madden, and Melissa Stark with 1:46 remaining in the half. Tommy Maddox and the Steelers begin from the 29-yard line. Bettis gets one. They have 3 timeouts remaining, and they have been perfect thus far. 3 possessions tonight for the Steelers, and as you can see, 6 plays, 11 plays, and then 8 touchdown, touchdown, touchdown.
You know, it's been a great mixture, and one of the things that when you talk to the Steeler players and coaches about Tommy Maddox, they all use the one word, that he has great anticipation. I think that was one of the things that Cordell Stewart was maybe suffering from, that he didn't anticipate well. Balls were behind and so on. He's a Tommy Maddox, and you can see it tonight, has great anticipation.
Fake toss to Randall L. Then he hits Hines Ward, cutting back across the field into Indy territory, out of bounds at the 39. So they fake the toss to Randall L., and that gets the defense thinking about him, and then go the other way to Hines Ward, who does a lot of the same things that Randall L. does.
And then once you get the lead like this and you're Bill Cowher, then you can pull out everything. You know, and this is what they'd like to do, you know, to be able to use all their offense, use all their players, use all their defense and all their dogs and everything, and that's what they're doing this first half.
Beautiful playing with a lead. 1st and 10, and that is caught by Randall L., and he takes it to the 30-yard line. And I bring that up because as Maddox takes a timeout, because of the way Pittsburgh started the season, their first 2 games in particular, they have rarely played with the lead this season.
And that's a big difference between this year, the start of this year, and last year, because when they get behind and they have to play uphill, that's not Bill Cowher. That's not Steeler football. You know, and this is Steeler football here now, where they get the lead, and they can do all their tricks and everything on offense. They can run the ball at you and then do all those exotic blitzes they have on defense.
It's amazing, John. I mean, week 1, the Steelers, kind of the consensus pick to go to the Super Bowl for the AFC, looked pretty bad at New England. Looked pretty bad against Oakland. Everybody's saying, what in the world's going on? We're in week 7. Maybe they are going to the Super Bowl.
Well, you know, they were the pick. I mean, they were the team. They were in the championship game last year, and you say, this is the team. And they didn't look like it earlier. I don't even think I mean, last week they played Cincinnati, and I don't even know that counts. But right. I'll tell you, tonight in this first half, they do look like the Pittsburgh that we thought.
2nd down and 1 from the 30-yard line. Maddox out of the gun. They have 2 timeouts. And that one is intercepted, picked off by Mike Peterson, and they'll get it from behind, and Peterson is stopped at the 35-yard line, but a huge play to keep Indy in the game. Terrence Mathis was able to track him down and stop him.
And that's exactly what the Colts needed, because all the momentum in this first half has been the Steelers. And they had to do something. You have to make a play. You have to change the momentum. You have to get it out of there. And you see Peterson right there. Here he is. He's right on the line of scrimmage. He wasn't back there. He's right on the line of scrimmage. In fact, he's rushing, and he jumped up to block the ball, and he caught it. I thought that he was deeper than that. He was in the backfield when he intercepted that.
He had his first pick of the year, and it was a big one toward the end of the first half last week against Baltimore. Now Manning will try to cash in. Instead, he gets necktied, and the pass is incomplete. Clark Hagens, the linebacker, came in and grabbed him.
You know, on one part, you're saying here, okay, this is a turnover here. It's a big play for the Colts. They have to take a shot now. They have to throw the ball to Marvin Harrison. But by the same token, they got to get their pass protection down because Peyton Manning's trying to throw it, but there's someone hanging on him every time he gets back there. Every time. 32 seconds to play in the half. Indy has all of its timeouts. Manning throws, and it's dropped by Marvin Harrison, of all people. Well, they tried to hit him short underneath. They had, you know, someone going deep, then they brought Marvin Harrison underneath to hit him with a short one on the run so he could continue to run. And, of course, as you said, he just dropped it. But I really felt first down was the time to take the shot. And they did try to take the shot, but they didn't have the protection. Second down, they were trying to get back to a 3rd and 5 and drop the ball. 3rd and 10, they're not even in field goal range realistically here. Manning slings it to the outside. That's caught. Reggie Wayne, now they'll take a timeout at the 23-yard line and maybe get off a couple of plays, see if they can score. Otherwise, we'll see Vanderjagt. Yeah, again, this time, you know, we're talking about the blitzes the Steelers do. They almost got to Peyton Manning on that last one. And you're going to see the pressure is going to come right up the middle. And there's going to be a free guy coming right up the middle. And he just got rid of that ball. But now I think they're in again, the first down, like I thought the last first down. Here's the place you take a shot. I think you take a shot at the end zone here. And usually if they're going to take a shot, the shot that they take is usually to Marvin Harrison. May have time for 2. But I think it's a lot easier to take a shot right off the bat than it is to wait 3rd and long. Because if something bad happens on first down, you can throw it away. And you usually tend to force things on 3rd down where you're a lot looser passing on first down, even though we only have 21 seconds. Similarly, 2 receivers wide here, and we've got a flag. Pollard looked like he was raising up from the tight end spot.
Ball start, 81.
He was.
Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
These are the things that have just been killing the Colts. I mean, you know, something good happens, then another thing good happens, but along the way something bad happens. At the most inopportune times. One of the plays that make calm coaches like Tony Dungy wild men. Send a few guys to the booth, too. From the 28. Manning throwing, and it's incomplete. It was intended for James, and Gilden was never even looking back at the play, and it wound up hitting him. Gilden's been all over the place. We've seen him as a pass rusher. We've seen him, you know, as a cover guy on that play. We've seen him make good open field tackles. Every time that I've ever watched the Pittsburgh Steelers defense play, Jason Gilden has played very well. You see here, he gets man on man. That's what you're looking for, but he has to lead. That was a bad throw on Peyton Manning's part. He has to get that ball out in front of Edgerrin James. 2nd and 15. Manning throws, and that is incomplete, intended for Pollard. So now you have 12 seconds. You still have a timeout at your disposal. And you are, well, certainly within Vanderjagt's field goal range. But remember, it's Heinz Field, the house of horrors for kickers. Right, and I would think what you would do here is just try and get about 5 or 10 more yards to kick a field goal. I mean, just get Vanderjagt 5 or 10 yards closer on this field goal is what your goal would be here. 3rd and 15 from the 28. Manning. And Manning staying in bounds, throwing, picked off at the 1, so they won't even get a field goal attempt. Brent Alexander picks it off. So Peyton staying in bounds, and that cost them because even had he completed it, without it going into the end zone, they would have been out of time. Yeah, but all he had to do was throw it away. When he got over here to the sideline, he knew he didn't want to get out of bounds. But when you're outside the tackle box, you can throw it away. He could just throw the ball out of bounds. Absolutely, and at least set up a 46
yard attempt, but nothing doing, and it's 21-3 as we have the Lexus halftime show coming up next after this message from the NFL and a word from our ABC stations.
Well, yeah, don't put it in his eyebrow there.
This is Peyton.
50 minutes for Peyton Manning, especially at the end when he had a chance to at least set up for a field goal attempt. Instead, they wind up coming up completely empty, 21-3. And let's check in with Melissa.
Well, Tony Dungy said that the Colts are moving the ball well. They're just not playing well on special teams and defense. And I asked if the defense was worn out, and he said, no, they're not worn out. We're just having trouble with Pittsburgh's inside running game. And I asked him what kind of adjustments they were going to make on pass protection for Peyton Manning. He said, no, we're not going to make any adjustments. Pass protection is not the problem. The implication being that Manning's the problem, that he's out of sync.
That's an interesting assessment.
Well, I have all the respect in the world for Tony Dungy, but I don't agree that pass protection is not the problem. I think that, that Peyton Manning did throw a couple of bad passes, but I thought that the pass protection was terrible. I mean, there were Steelers hanging on Peyton Manning the whole first half.
Manning averaging just a little over 5 yards per pass. That ball is dropped and then picked up by Randall L. Good coverage by the Indianapolis return coverage unit as we take a look at the numbers now. Dominated by the Pittsburgh Steelers in the first half. Slight edge in rushing, pretty good sized edge in passing. Each team with a turnover. And then there's Maddox, 75%. Bettis, efficient. Burris with 5 catches.
In that halftime piece, Maddox's son said he wants to be Batman. You think here you are at NFL Monday Night Football, and your son would want to be a football player, want to be a Steeler. He wants to be Batman.
Prior to the snap, false start, 87, offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Mark Bruner. Melissa, what did Bill Cowher have to say to you?
Well, with the big lead, you'd think that they might start relying on running the ball in the second half, but that is not the case. He said, we're going to continue to throw to keep them off balance, but the main thing is no turnovers. He said, though, we couldn't have written the script any better for the first half. Defensively, they want to not let Peyton Manning get into a rhythm. He said, we're going to stick to the game plan, which was to make Edgerrin James beat us. And, by the way, I'll look for one new trick play in the second half.
I'll bet. Well, James is not beating them. He's been limited to 36 yards on 11 carries. Meanwhile, the bust here with his 11th carry of the night. He scored 2 touchdowns and picks up 3.
Yeah, what their plan is to double Marvin Harrison all the time. In other words, not let Marvin Harrison or the big play beat you. See, Jerome Bettis is down there. He said, remember I said earlier that he hurt his knee last week. He was playing against Cincinnati, and the running was so easy, he didn't want to come out. Didn't say anything.
And Bill Cowher is going to come out.
For last year, he had the groin, and that's what he rehabbed the whole off season.
And this crowd, which had been in full throat, is very quiet at the moment.
Because he's such an important part of this team. I mean, he's kind of the heart of the offense. That, I mean, Tommy Maddox does what he does, and and throws the ball well, but it all starts with the bus where you have to come up and defend. You have to bring 8 guys up in the box and do those things, and because of the way he can run, that makes things a little easier for the passing.
Amos Zaraway and Chris Fuamatu Ma'afala are his backups. Injury time out here in Pittsburgh.
Gina? When I was first hired,
Bettis actually walked off the field with some assistance. Then he was put on the gurney in this position, and it's obviously something to do with that left knee, John.
Yeah, it is. In fact, he said that he had it up in the air, and he got it hit, and he could feel it pop. That's never a good thing.
Zaraway replaces him, and here is Amos to the outside on 2nd and 12. And he gets taken down up at the 25. Bettis came off the field, and everybody breathed a tremendous collective sigh of relief. He came off okay, but then as he got over to the gurney, he pounded it. And you could tell that he knew there was something that went on inside that knee.
That's what I was thinking. When I saw him come over to get on this gurney here, and when he hit it, you knew that it wasn't just a twist or a bruise or something like that. And then hearing something pop means it's something that, you know, gave when it got down there, in his mind anyway.
3rd down and 9 now out of the shotgun from the 25-yard line. Fuamatu Ma'afala is in the backfield. He stays in the block. Maddox under pressure, and down goes Maddox in the grasp of Dwight Freeney, their #1 draft choice out of Syracuse.
Yeah, if they come into blitz now, they're giving them a dose of what the Steelers gave them in the first half, and that's what happens when you lose your big running back, when you can't run the ball, when, you know, the old cat's away, the mice are going to play, and you see once Bettis goes out there, they know that they come in, you know, of course it's 3rd and long, so they have to throw anyway, but they're giving them the pressure rather than the coverage.
Josh Miller to punt, Pittsburgh's first punt of the game. Long, deep, kick fielded at the 29-yard line by Troy Walters, and he brings it up to the 47-yard line. So Indianapolis begins with a little momentum as the second half begins. Bettis up and trying to walk it off early in the 3rd quarter with the Steelers up 21-3.
I'm a Ford truck.
As the father hides his past, an unthinkable secret discovered that will change everything Agent Bristow believed about him and herself. A new alias you'll see it this Sunday right here on ABC. The Indianapolis Colts trying to scramble back into the game from the 48-yard line. Pump fake by Manning, who then throws underneath to James, slips the tackle, and is forced out of bounds at the Pittsburgh 46-yard line. How about the triplets tonight?
I think the big triplet that they need is Marvin Harrison. I mean, if they're going to get back in this game, they need some big plays. And if they're going to get big plays, it has to be Marvin Harrison. And we can see he's only caught 2 balls for 29 yards.
Manning is 12 of 22 in the opening 30 minutes. There's James, 2nd down and 4. Edgerrin to the outside, and Edgerrin is taken down about 3 yards shy of the first down at the 45-yard line.
You know, that first half, Peyton Manning really took a beating. I mean, it seemed like every time he would go back to throw, there was someone right there, either as he was throwing him, hitting him just like that after he threw or before he threw or whatever. There always seemed to be a black jersey around Peyton Manning in that first half, and that's what I think they had to get under control. If they get their pass protection down, we know that Peyton Manning can throw it. We know that Marvin Harrison is one of the top receivers in football, but he just can't catch 2 passes for 29 yards, and the Colts expect to be in it.
This may be another problem, though, for the passing game. That's Qadre Ismail, the #2 receiver, who was hurt on that last play. Free agent who was picked up by Bill Polian from the Ravens.
And he's right here. See what happens. He misses a block there and then gets, ooh, yeah. So they say got caught up in the wash. That happened. I mean, you got to get the block and you got to get in the hole and you got to get away from that pile that's coming. We saw one of those, the same thing happen, you know, we had last Monday night, where you're there and that whole thing rolls up in the back of your legs.
Ismail to the sideline. 3rd down and 3 now. Harrison comes in motion from the 45-yard line. Peyton throwing, looking at Harrison all the way, and Marvin knew exactly what he needed for a first down to the 41-yard line. They'll move the chains. Let's check in with Melissa.
Well, Al, we have the injury update on the 5-time Pro Bowler, Jerome Bettis. He has a left knee sprain. Return is questionable. That's all they're saying at this point. So we'll continue to keep you updated. Al, he has had 6 consecutive 1,000-yard rushing seasons.
Yeah, he has been very durable, Melissa. Last year, though, he missed a lot of time at the end of the season because of that groin injury. Apart from that, he's been a stud. 1st and 10 from the 41-yard line. Fake to James. Throw over the middle. Wide open is the tight end, Marcus Pollard. Touchdown, Colts, and they're back in the game. 41 yards to Pollard.
Well, that was an adjustment or something you see at halftime, and you know that you watch the way they play a run, and then you fake that run, and you get the ball to your tight end. And that's what Tom Moore and the Colts do so well. Peyton Manning does so well. Good play action there. You see that holds these guys up there. It slows down the rush, and Peyton Manning is able to get Marcus Pollard right down the middle. Watch this play fake here. Peyton Manning puts the ball out there. Most quarterbacks put their empty hand out on play fake. Peyton Manning puts the ball out there, and he's the best play-faking quarterback in the game.
Vanderjagt for the point after. Pollard scored their only touchdown last week. Their only one so far tonight. Down by 11 of the Colts. This Wednesday at 9, 8 Central Time, the battle for the Bachelor continues. 6 women try to win over the man of their dreams, the Bachelor. Whom will he choose? Who will lose? A brand new episode this Wednesday here on ABC. Mike Vanderjagt to kick off for Indianapolis. Fielded at the 15. This is Lee Mays, rookie from University of Texas at El Paso, up to the 31 as we go back to take a look at the TD.
Well, you know, we're talking about how they were going to always take away Marvin Harrison by double here and getting this safety over here. But by getting this safety over here, that let the tight end Marcus Pollard come right down the middle. They're so concerned with Marvin Harrison get the double. You see this safety get way over here worrying about Harrison, and because he got way over there, Marcus Pollard got straight down the middle.
And wide open, 41 yards. Now the Steelers begin from the 30 with Amos Zaraway, the tailback. Amos who saw a lot of action last year after Bettis was hurt, picks up 4.
And they're running that same side. You know, it's over there behind Wayne Gandy and Al Faneca. And that's where they had the success in the first half. And, of course, the runner was Jerome Bettis. But I would bet that 75% or more of the Pittsburgh Steelers runs have been to the left side.
Bettis with that knee sprain, 2nd down and 6. And Pittsburgh goes to Baltimore next Sunday. Short week. And then to see the Ravens rolling by Maddox. Pass intended for Ward is incomplete. Coverage by Walt Harris. It'll be 3rd down and 6. We were talking about Brett Favre before, John, and just to follow up on what we started to talk about with the knee sprain yesterday. They looked at it today. It is a sprain, and they're lucky they have the off week because he has not only the off week, but then a Monday night game is their next game.
Right, and that was something, you know, you just expect every time you see a Green Bay highlight that number 4 is throwing a pass, and you see a Green Bay highlight, and you see him being carried off in a cart, and you think, I've never seen that before.
Right. They're optimistic are the Packers as a flag goes down that Brett will play against Miami 2 weeks from tonight as Hines Ward makes the catch. Flag down. Walt Coleman, of course, of Tuck fame. He was the guy who made the call on the Tom Brady play in the snow in Foxborough last year. Will make the call here.
Well, he made the 2 calls, didn't he? Didn't he call the play a fumble, and then it was his replay call, right?
His replay call, exactly.
So he made right one time, and he made a mistake one time because he called it. Isn't that right?
Illegal shift, 2 men moving and not resetting. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Illegal shift, making it 3rd down and 11. You know, you're talking about Brett Favre, and here was the case. And you're right. Every time you see a highlight like this, you go, well, wait a minute, that can't be him.
And you know the consecutive games, 10 years, and this is not a shot that you ever see of Brett Favre. And to me, when I saw that yesterday, I was shocked by it.
3rd and 11, a wobbly pass. They may have deflected it or hit his arm, intended for Burris, and that's incomplete. And so all of a sudden, the Colts, who looked like they were dead, are very much alive. With 25 minutes left in the game, down by 11. Bettis is out of the game, at least for the moment, and Indy's going to get the ball back.
You know, it all started, I think, with that interception. When the Colts got that interception, it didn't really put the momentum in their favor, but I think it took some away from the Pittsburgh Steelers. That, and as you say, Jerome Bettis out.
An interception coming before the half. Otherwise, it could have been 24, maybe even 28-3. Punt field at 28-yard line by Troy Walters. Flag is down. 2, in fact, one on each side of the field, so 2 separate infractions here. Most likely.
You know, anytime a punt returner stays up that long, there's usually that illegal block in the back. I mean, you usually, if the guy goes down quickly or gets through a hole quickly, there's not a penalty. But when you take that much time to get 10 or 15 yards, there's usually this penalty.
That penalty and a hold as well. So there were 2 separate calls, each against Indianapolis.
Illegal block in the back, number 40 of the return team. That penalty's declined. Holding 31 of the return team during the kick. That penalty will be enforced. 10 yards, first down.
It's Clifton Crosby, number 31. So Indy gets it, but deep in its own territory.
Are you ready for some football?
Next Monday night across the state we go. Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. The Eagles are hosting the New York Giants on Monday Night Football. And the way I look at it, John, Pennsylvania this week, next week, it's our own little Keystone combination.
Right. You're going to get to a state, heck, just stay in that state. You travel like I do, that's not bad.
Right. Here's James taking the swing pass to the outside, puts his head down, and should have enough for a first down if he gets the spot, and he will. Taken down by Chad Scott.
You know, Al, we were talking about Peyton Manning being the best play pass quarterback in football. Here's the reason. Watch, on the left is a run, and on the right is a play action. Now, what he tries to do, he's going to give the same motion. Watch on the left how he hands the ball off, and then watch here on the right. This is the same thing, but that's going to be a play action pass. See, he makes everything look like a run before he throws it.
James. Yard and a half. Speaking of play fakes, here is how Peyton sums up what he does.
The key is what you do when you hand off. And the key is don't become a spectator. And my philosophy is if 10 other guys on a running play are doing something, blocking, you know, receivers blocking, tight ends blocking, then I need to be doing something as well. And so that's why I carry out my fakes with a sprint out the other way, with a dip. And I can actually block somebody by doing that.
Here he swings one out to Edgerrin James for a short gain, tackled by Kendrell Bell. Peyton Manning, the son of Archie Manning. Classy kid, of course, when you look at that upbringing with Archie and his wife, and his brother, of course, Eli, playing at Ole Miss. It figures.
Eli, and then the mother having the toughest job, having to watch her son be a pro quarterback and a college quarterback. I think Archie probably enjoys it a lot more. And this crowd, I'll tell you, Steeler crowds know and love their defense.
3rd down and 8. And here comes that defense, but a one-handed grab by Harrison. And then Marvin breaks the tackle and picks up a big first down as he got out of the grasp of Lee Flowers.
And Lee Flowers was coming free. He came on that left side. But the area that he vacated is the area that Marvin Harrison went to. And it's the area that Peyton Manning hits him on. Watch him. He's going to come here in motion. Then he comes across. The blitz went right in that hole. And I'll tell you, that is a great catch because that wasn't a perfect throw by Peyton Manning. He throws it behind Marvin Harrison, and Marvin Harrison is able to reach back and get it.
And get the first down. And then Manning throws one deep, caught by James at the 33-yard line. Brent Alexander makes the tackle. 24 yards to Edgerrin James.
Yeah, that was the same play that he had earlier. He had that in the first half, and he missed it, so they came right back with it. Here's James here, and it's going to be a play fake, and then James is going to go right up the left seam, right up in this area. And again, you get the play fake, you hold that linebacker, and he runs right by the held linebacker. You watch this play fake, both hands out there. Holds Kendrell Bell, and then Edgerrin James is able to get behind Kendrell Bell.
And it is Brent Alexander who made the tackle on James, who was shaken up here.
They had everything going in that first half, the Steelers did, and then it seemed like maybe it was too easy, and then they lost their momentum, and like Bill Cowher told Melissa at halftime, we want to keep going. We don't want to just run out this thing. We have to keep it going, and they haven't been able offensively to keep things going.
And it'll be even tougher now because we don't know if Bettis is going to return. Sprained knee, at least he's still in uniform. Ismail, who was hurt for Indianapolis in the last series, he is back in. Alexander goes out. In the secondary, Mike Logan comes in as Indy comes to the line on 1st and 10 from the 32 of the Steelers. Halfway through the third quarter. James tackled in the backfield. Good play by Kendrell Bell.
I think that could have been one of those run blitz. Looked like Kendrell Bell was going to hit that hole before James even started. And we talked about play side, backside, play side again. That time Kendrell Bell is going to hit this hole. I think this is a run blitz because here's the back now. Is he reading that back or is he going before that? I don't know. That's either a very, very quick read or it's a run dog.
2nd and 11. In traffic, backpedaling, and then picked off, intercepted by Mike Logan into Indy territory. Manning gets blocked out of the play, and he takes it all the way down to the 20-yard line where he's finally tackled by the fullback, Jim Finn. And so when Alexander went out and Logan came in, Logan is the man on the spot.
And Mike Logan is the safety. He's a free safety. And you'll just see him. He's right here, and he's just going to read Peyton Manning the whole way. Watch him. He just reads him. He just reads the whole thing, and he sees it. He was what they call, he played that position they call a robber. Anything that is going to come in the middle, he takes. He takes all those crossing patterns. It was a crossing pattern. Peyton Manning led him right into it.
That's exactly what he did. He robbed Manning, and he gives him a first down at the 19-yard line. And Maddox going for 6, and would have had it, but he overthrows Burris.
Well, Tommy Maddox was saying that last night. He said the toughest throw for him to throw is when a guy is wide open. He said you get so excited that you want to get the ball to him that sometimes you get too excited and you put too much on it. And that's exactly what he did here. Had a little misdirection, too, and it looked like Plexico Burris kind of stumbled at the same time. It was not a smooth play. Mike Logan awfully proud of himself.
2nd and 10 from the 19-yard line. Zerilay. And he gets taken down after a gain of close to 5 by Brad Scioli, the end.
One thing that they are doing here, they're working the left side of their offense and the right side of that Colt defense. And they really are wearing them down. I thought that they wore them down at the end of the first half, but then when the Colt offense got going, I think then that gave their defense a little chance to freshen up. These two guys here are doing a heck of a job.
3rd down and 5 now from the 14-yard line. Maddox towards for 6. Nick Harper, the defensive back, and Manning, who watched Logan pick him off, watches Pittsburgh exploit it.
There's Hines Ward there, and you can just see him make a little out move, and now he has it. Tommy Maddox watched him all the way. He knew exactly what he was going to do with the ball before it was even snapped.
2nd touchdown of the night for Ward. Todd Peterson with a conversion, and Indy on its way right back into the game and threatening, and all of a sudden a complete turnaround after the pick by Logan. 28-10. ABC's Monday Night Football being brought to you by Microsoft, providing software for the agile business. Ford, no boundaries. The Home Depot, driving down the cost of home improvement. And Coors Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL, cold down and easy. right now, 28-10, but then Peterson's kickoff goes out of bounds, and Indy will take over at the 40-yard line. John, I know that at Fox you didn't get a chance to come in here very much. Beautiful city. There are your three rivers.
Yeah.
So here,
and then we got the confluence.
The confluence. So here's the Allegheny running outside the stadium. Okay.
Right here?
Yep, you got it.
Okay.
Then the Monongahela comes up here. Okay. You're gonna
up here?
Right, you got it. And then coming down to the right, now that's where the Ohio is formed. That's the Ohio River.
So they meet here.
Yes.
So this is
right.
this point here is what we call a confluence.
That's,
so we got this, and this.
Right.
See, now we can see it clear.
Right, and then if the Ohio River, if you get down on the Ohio River, it'll take you through Cincinnati, Louisville,
and somewhere probably to the Mississippi.
To the Mississippi, absolutely. From the 40-yard line, Manning. And they'll throw that one away. But the question is, how would you like to go on a cruise with Chris Fuamato Ma'afala down the Monongahela River?
I can't say Monongahela.
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 But anyway, that's what the confluence is, and I know, you know, as I go across the country on a bus, I know one thing, that the Mississippi, I think, is in like half the states in this country. I mean, we cross the Mississippi more than we cross anything.
The mouth, of course, starts in northern Minnesota, then empties out into the Gulf. As Edgerrin James takes the ball across the 50-yard line, and with a decent spot here, should have a first down.
So what you're saying is that is they empty into the Ohio. Do they empty into the Ohio, or do they form the Ohio?
They form the Ohio. This is where the Ohio starts. The Ohio starts here.
So that forms it when they come in the confluence.
And it goes through Cincinnati and Louisville and through Kentucky and Illinois.
And then somewhere it becomes the Mississippi?
Goes into the Mississippi.
How do you know all that stuff?
I'm just guessing. First and 10 from the 49. This is James.
I'll tell you, they have Edgerrin James down. It was interesting that, you know, Tim Lewis, the defensive coordinator of the Steelers, was saying that, you know, we're going to make James beat us. We're going to take away Harrison, and we've shown where they've been doubling Marvin Harrison all night. But even in doing that, they've also been very, very effective against Edgerrin James.
So Tim Lewis, the Steeler defensive coordinator. Manning to the outside and a little bit low, intended for Marvin Harrison. 3rd and 9.
You know, Marvin Harrison was saying last night that Tom Moore, the offensive coordinator, he said he didn't realize until this year, but he always gets him a play early. You know, gets him, but he hasn't done it this game. Here's Marvin Harrison. What he's doing is he's trying to run and up there. He's trying to say, Peyton Manning, I got tight coverage here, just throw it up to me, and they didn't relay that to each other on that play.
Brent Alexander, who was shaken up on the last series, back in the game, the safety for the Steelers, 3rd down and 9. Manning throwing to the 37-yard line, and the ball is caught there. Good catch. Sliding to the ground was Harrison to make the grab and get the first.
You know, and that was one of the first good 3rd down pass protections that I can remember. I mean, Peyton Manning had a good pocket. He got back there. He had time, and he could find his guy. His guy, of course, being Marvin Harrison. Watch the protection. See, this is what he hasn't had the whole game. You see the pocket there? He can just sit back. And if you give him time, he could do this all night.
Inside give. This is James to the 34-yard line.
You know, so you say, you know, where is the problem with this Colt offense? Is it Edgerrin James not being completely healthy? Is it Peyton Manning not being completely sharp? Is it the defense? Is it the offensive line? I think the offensive line tonight has been a little overpowered.
They were worried about it coming in, too. 2nd down and 8 from the 34. Manning throws. Harrison makes the grab to the 27-yard line, a little short of the first.
Well, the one thing that they're going to do is, we talked about taking away Edgerrin James, but I think they're also taking Marvin Harrison away deep. You know, that if he's going to catch some passes, they're going to be the kind that he really has to work on and underneath and the shorter type.
As you see by those numbers right there, yielding just 10.3 per grab, 6 catches.
Yep, that's Tarek Glenn, the left tackle move.
Yep.
Marvin Harrison looked like he's been in a grass fight. He got that belt hanging out there.
False start. 78. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
Look at this, how right here, how Marvin Harrison has this thing right here. He doesn't put his belt all the way through, and he just lets it hang down that right side. He said that's how he can tell how fast he's running, how much wind resistance he has.
It's like a flag football uniform.
I know it. He has to get some wind distance going and get a big play here.
3rd down and 7 from the gun. Here they come through the middle. Logan almost sacked him, and then Manning goes down. So another big play by Mike Logan. Logan, who had the interception on the last series and the near sack, and in effect, he busted up this play.
Yeah, and the Steelers were able to come on a blitz and also double Marvin Harrison. That's a big thing here. What they're trying to do is, you think when they blitz, you're going to get single coverage. They come on a blitz, they come on pressure, but also out here to the right, they have a double. And that's where you see Peyton Manning is looking. He's trying to throw it out there to Marvin Harrison, but watch the double coverage right there on Marvin Harrison. So you get the best of both worlds defensively.
Hunter Smith's punt. Bearcats call for a drop by Randall L. But then he alertly is able to recover it at the 6-yard line. That'll stop your coach's heart.
I was watching him in practice the other night, Alan, and he catches the punt like he catches the pass. He catches it with his hands up. Watch him. He doesn't catch it close to his body. I thought, this guy has the best hands I've ever seen. Most guys will bring it in and catch it like this. Randall L. puts both hands up like it's a pass. And he was doing this in practice. And I was thinking, man, this guy has the greatest hands I've ever seen.
Used to.
And then lo and behold, on Monday night, it goes right through him. But he has all kinds of energy. This is a good kid, Randall L.
Yeah.
He really is.
And that's what Bill's talking about. That's perfect.
But he did it in practice. He should have told him in practice if he didn't want that.
From the 6-yard line, Zeraway swings to the outside, and Zeraway gets taken down for a 4-yard loss by Mike Peterson, pursuing linebacker.
Antoine Randall L. over there and saying that, look at it, he's saying, don't do that. Don't catch it that way. You want to, you catch it down here. Catch it down. Look it in. Bring it into you. What does Bill Cowher know about catching punts anyway?
It's a good, I'm just thinking
what else been doing all? Bill Cowher's never, in all due respect, never caught a punt in his life, and that's the way Randall L. catches them in practice. He practices that.
He knows what he doesn't like. 2nd down and 14. He doesn't like fumbles or muffs. Zeraway breaks it. Breaks loose. Out past the 20, the 30, and bumped out of bounds near the 44-yard line. And the bus, who's in for a repair job, salutes him from the sideline. 42 yards.
Amos Zeraway is a great changeup. You know, you watch him, and he's going to take a cutback here. It's going to start to the left, and they've been running left all night. So the Colts start to over-pursue. Zeraway takes it like he's going to run to the left and quickly cuts back to the right.
Career long run for Zeraway of 42 yards. And now Maddox slings it over the middle, goes back to Burris, his main man again, and that's a 1st down to the 38-yard line. Plexico Burris with a half-dozen receptions tonight for 79 yards.
And that's a perfect example of what we were talking about, anticipation. What the players talk about, anticipation, the coaches talk about.
Jeff Hardings, the Pro Bowl alternate last year at center, is hurt.
I mean, Maddox doesn't want to leave him. But here's the anticipation. Is you have a window, you have to find an alley, and now he's ready right here to throw. Here's Burris right here, and he's going to throw it right into this area. He's not going to throw where Burris is. He's anticipating where he's going to be.
So Maddox will now have to take some snaps from Chucky Okobe, who is the backup center. you know, we were talking last week about, you know, certain positions in sports that are fabled. And for the Steelers, I mean, along the offensive line, it's tough to say it's a fabled position, but it's very much like the Raiders with the great centers. The Steelers with Mike Webster, the late Mike Webster for so many years, then DeMonte Dawson, and Hardings was the successor to them.
Right, and not only were they great centers, but they were great centers for a long time. And as you say, in Oakland, we had the same thing. I mean, for years, you know, the center was Jim Otto and Dave Dalby. We'll see what happens to Hardings. He's right here, right in the middle there, and it looks like he was just getting pushed upon, and his right knee just collapsed on him, I think. Or left knee, I guess. But he was just in pass protection. It was, you know, just one of those, his bodies against the other guy's body.
So Hardings comes out. Bettis is already on the shelf.
Remember, Jeff Hardings was a guard, wasn't he, for the Detroit Lions, and came over here, and the Steelers made him a center.
7th year in the league, played for Joe Paterno. So now a new exchange. Clock begins to tick again after the injury timeout. 1st and 10 from the 38-yard line. Keep it on the ground and give it to Fuamatu Ma'afala, who takes it to the 29 to the Strange of Who.
You know, and that's, again, a great combination. You can give him some Fu, you can give him some Zero-Way, and when Bettis is healthy, you give him a little dose of Jerome Bettis. But the one constant has been right here, the left side of the line. Gandy makes a kick out, and Alan Faneca, the left guard, has been able to get to that second level all night.
End of the 3rd, and Monday Night Football resumes after this from our ABC stations.
Are you ready for some football? Donovan McNabb and the Eagles are flying high. Michael Strahan and the Giants aim to avenge last season's Philly sweep. It's a grudge match. Michaels and Madden are here for Monday night.
What makes our French toast fabulous? Is it the egg batter with a hint of cinnamon? The 3 slices of super thick toast? The powdered sugar? Yep, the new fabulous French toast. Served with sizzling bacon and sausage links. Only at Denny's. It's not that you can get a seasoned grilled chicken breast sandwich with cheddar cheese, crispy onion rings, and sweet hickory spread for lunch that's surprising. It's that you can get it at your favorite breakfast place. The new barbecue chicken sandwich, served with a side of fries. Only at Denny's.
Reese's is often asked, what are the secret ingredients that make Reese's salsas so delicious? They're not about to tell you. Well, maybe they are willing to give you a small hint. Or 2.
Delicious Reese's salsas, specially blended and always chilled, with spices that...
Why don't you just tell them what the spices are?
Well, okay. To start, there's a pinch of cumin, a dash of
How do you turn
oregano.
this off?
Reese's salsa, not the most secret ingredients, just the best tasting.
Secret? What secret?
At Les Schwab, we're on the move, so you can be on the go. If you need tires, we're ready. It's sale time now at the Les Schwab shop.
K2, the station more and more people are watching.
On ESPN Sports Center, we'll follow tonight's game, all of the news around the league, and as we mentioned before, Brett Favre, the Packers optimistic he will play, and their next game is 2 weeks from tonight when Miami goes to Green Bay. There's Fuamatu Ma'afala and Jerome Bettis.
I was watching them before the game, and they have a little warm-up along with the third big back, Ron Hayes.
And this is Dan Kreider trying to crunch his way to a first.
They have a different way. When you're a big running back, you have a different way that you stretch. You know, like most guys will get out and stretch, and they have, you know, Fu and Haynes and Jerome Bettis. Watch here, it is right here. That's the way, if you're a big running back, that's the way you get ready for a football game on Monday night. They've done that before. No one gets them going.
I think they were doing with a headset on. Incomplete. Plexico Burris, the intended receiver.
It seemed like Plexico Burris has been the intended receiver most of the time for Tommy Maddox.
This looks like one of those infomercials that you see at about 4 o'clock in the morning with an 800 number at the end of it.
But that's how you loosen up your groin. Right groin, right groin.
Left 260 pounds, it's how you do it, right?
You just stretch out those groins.
Second down and 10 from the 28-yard line. Zeroué cuts it back. Beautiful move. A lot of depth in the Steeler backfield all the way to the 10-yard line.
But that Alan Faneca is a heck of a blocker on that left side. I mean, he's getting such a big push here that he could have run that thing play side. I mean, this guy has been blocking great all night. He's been blocking in front of him, and then he's been getting up the field. Just watch here, and watch the movement that they get there. I mean, that can get them through any hole, but that brings all the defenders there, so there is a cutback. But had he kept it play side, he would have gained about 5 yards just on Faneca's block.
Pro Bowl guard, first and goal with the nose of the ball on the 10-yard line. Amos again. Zeroué picks up a couple. And Kreider, fullback, leading the way. What about Harding's update now from Melissa? Melissa?
Well, out center Jeff Harding's, who's certainly been durable throughout his career. He made his 62nd consecutive start tonight. He has an injured left knee. That's all they're telling us at this point. He's out for the rest of the game. And as for Jerome Bettis, who sprained his left knee in the third quarter, his status has not changed. Still questionable. He's got ice on it on the sidelines.
You know, it's the kind of a situation a coach would hope for a bye week, but Pittsburgh has already had it. So they'll play every Sunday and Monday the rest of the way. 0-8 to the 6. Next Sunday, by the way, they go to Baltimore. If they win here tonight, John, the Ravens and the Steelers are tied for the top spot in the new AFC North.
Right, so that game will, in essence, be for first place, I think. I think in a week or two is when things start to shake out. You know, you look at that AFC West, and they start to play each other now, and I think we're going to start, about 2 weeks from now on, start to have a separation in the league.
This drive began at the 6-yard line. Now it's at the other 6. Third and goal. Maddox on the run, throws. It is caught, but not in the end zone by Hines Ward. Inside the 1, but it's going to be 4th and goal from about the 6-inch line.
And Hines Ward is trying to beg for that touchdown, but he didn't get it in. But here you see the motion, and they end up in a bunch. Hines Ward comes to the outside here, and up, he didn't get it in. The ball has to cross the plane. The ball isn't close to crossing the plane. He's lucky that he kept control of it.
And they'll go for the kill shot here, and why not? Worst case basis, Indy would have to start from its own 1, but Maddox doesn't like the call vis-a-vis the defensive alignment, takes a timeout. Timeout, 4th and goal upcoming for the Steelers, who are up 28-10 in the Steel City.
The legendary bloodline is about to boil. Cadillac. Breakthrough.
You've got one. You've probably got more than one. And chances are one of yours is one of ours. Because nobody in credit cards gives you Bank One's range of choices. You could use this one to get cash back. This one to fly. This one to show you care. Fact. Bank One gives you over 1,200 choices. Why do we go to all that trouble? You think somebody should?
Right after the game on K2 News, the officer who survived a bullet to the head in a shootout. And the first demands from the sniper, what he wants after the game.
Aerial coverage tonight from Pittsburgh is being provided by Budweiser. As we come back inside Heinz Field, it is 4th down and goal from the 1.
I would bet they run left because they've been doing it all night, and why change now?
Motion to the right. Run it over right guard, and there is no signal yet as Amos Zaraway gets upended and gets upended shy of the goal line.
Yeah, they outsmarted themselves, didn't they? I mean, they've been running left so well all night. Faneca, Wayne Gandy have been blocking over there and creating holes. So you think that they think you're going to do that. So instead of going on this side, they come on this side. And that's what happens. A good stuff job right there. You know, again, this isn't second guessing, but just looking, at what happened there, what would have been a great play is a play action pass. You take that run, everyone is going and fighting on that thing, and you would have had a tight end wide open. But they all say, go for it, go for it, go for it. You don't always make it when you go for it.
The lead is 18. The upside, of course, for Pittsburgh after go for it is that Indy has to begin at its 1. So the Colts try to mount a long drive here and begin with James giving them some breathing space up to the 5-yard line.
Look at Peyton Manning here. He's looking at the pictures of the defense that the Steelers were using, and he's shaking his head. And I know what he's thinking. He's thinking that they blitzed, but they also double covered Marvin Harrison. They've been using a lot of dime defense, the Steelers have, or 6 defensive backs, and that's what they did that coverage with.
That's Adam Meadows who is shaken up. Manning had the look of a kid who gets a test back, with a D on it, or a note from the teacher that says, see me. Injury timeout.
I had that look a lot in my life.
Warning, do not attempt any of them.
Heinz Field, second-year home of the Steelers. In good spirits tonight. Their club up by 18, 2nd down and 6 for Indy. And Harrison makes the catch and takes it up to the 14-yard line. So Meadows had to come out of the game. Waverly Jackson replaces him at right tackle.
One thing that's always been so true here in Pittsburgh is they know and love their defense, and this crowd will get as excited and make as much noise for their defense as they ever have for their offense. This goes back 30 years.
Sure. Steel curtain, favored steel curtain, 14-yard line. James to the outside, and he gets run down by James Farrier, the linebacker picked up from the New York Jets.
You know what his nickname is? Potsy.
Potsy?
Yeah, Potsy. Remember that Happy Days? Remember Potsy?
Oh.
Yeah, when he was a little kid, that was his mother's favorite show, was Happy Days. And he had a little pot belly, so they called him Potsy.
Flag before the play. It's also a game they used to play in New York called Potsy. You play Potsy as a kid?
Prior to the snap, false start, 78, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Tara Glenn.
What do you do in Potsy? What is Potsy?
I'm trying to remember. Now you've got me stumped. I can't believe I brought that up. But what about stickball? Just to change the subject.
Yeah, stickball. 1 foot off the gutter, kick the can. When I was in Baltimore, I thought of one. You ever play Baltimore, apple core Baltimore? Who's your friend?
No.
Yeah, you need an apple. You have an apple core, and then you say apple core Baltimore. Who's your friend? And you throw it at that guy. So whoever you said, you'd have an apple core, right? You ate the apple, so you have the apple core in your hand. So you say to one person, apple core, Baltimore, who's your friend? And they point to someone. Then you go, boom, you throw the apple core out.
Now, wait, when did you learn this game?
When I was in grammar school, but I thought of it when I was in Baltimore. I couldn't get that out of my head. So I had to get that out, too.
3rd and 7 from the 17. Manning slides to a halt up at the 28-yard line. It's funny, you go into towns and you can't get songs out of your head. Last week in Seattle, the bluest skies I've ever seen are in Seattle.
Yeah.
An old Perry Como song.
Right.
I thought I couldn't bring that up on the air because, you know, we have to appeal to the 18 to 34 demographic. Like no other demographic in the country has any money to spend on products.
Well, how about Apple Court, Baltimore? What do you think demographic that is?
Right.
But it's a good game for kids. I mean, if there's any kids still up, then listen, it's a good game. You eat an apple and you get to throw the core at someone.
We'll try that. 2nd down and 4 from the 23-yard line. Manning. That is caught by Mike Roberg, wearing Ken Dilger's old number. Dilger, a salary cap casualty, so Roberg takes the other tight end spot.
I think that could be part of the Colts' problem, too, is not having a blocking tight end.
Manning now. Pressured from behind by Jason Gilden and incomplete.
Jason Gilden, I said this earlier, he's really been all over. You know, we saw him covering, we saw him deep, we saw him do everything. Here we see him on a pass rush. And that's what he does best, I think. And, you know, he was telling me the other day that what he does is he has this thing when he comes from behind, especially like that play, when the quarterback is looking the other way, you always go for the tackle and the strip simultaneously.
And he blew by Waverly Jackson, 74, who's in for the injured Adam Meadows. Quick flip out here, caught by Reggie Wayne. And he gets escorted out of bounds at the 48-yard line, about 6 yards shy of the first, with a 3rd down play upcoming.
You know, you say, what's the difference between the Steeler defense now and that first week where we saw them against the Patriots? They're tackling a lot better, they're covering a lot tighter, and they're using a lot more 5 and 6 defensive back defenses, which they're using right now. They have 6 defensive backs in there.
3rd down and 6 from the 48-yard line. Little flip underneath, caught by Pollard, but he's a little short of the 1st down, and the Colts are compelled to go for it here.
Yeah, they have to, and now they have one of those positions where they can throw that little thing. This is not a running situation. I think this is one that you still have to throw the ball. Now throw one of your short things.
4th and 1. 7 guys tightly bunched in the box for Pittsburgh. And then a quick flip out here to Wayne. And Wayne, with that second move, is able to pick up the 1st down. Good inside move by Wayne to move the chains.
Yeah, and that's a dangerous throw. I mean, I think that's something when it's the 2nd time they've done that, but when that slot is up there like that, and he has tight coverage, you can't throw it. You want to throw it to him now when there's no one on him.
Manning, and off the hands and into the air and intercepted by Brent Alexander. Up to the 40, looking to lateral, and it may have been a forward pass to Deshae Townsend. There is a flag. There is a flag from the other side of the field where the officials spotted the forward flip. But that's the 2nd interception for Brent Alexander.
Why do you think Alexander would lateral that? Or throw it forward or attempt it? I think he got tired of running.
He did.
I think he said, I've had enough of this. Let someone else do it.
Completely premeditated, too. You can see him looking for somebody.
And it's not like he's a big old defensive lineman saying, I don't usually do this. I mean, there's a defensive back who just got a little tired, I think.
2 interceptions and a sack for Alexander.
Personal foul, 96 of the defense during the run back. 15-yard penalty. 1st down for Pittsburgh.
That is Kendrick Clancy. So the forward flip didn't even matter, as it turned out. 6:41 remaining now in the 4th. Steelers trying to get even at 3-3. Tomorrow, Jim takes an aspiring young comic under his wing on an all-new episode of According to Jim. That's tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern and Pacific, 7:30 Central Mountain. Jim Belushi. Manana from the 32. Steelers can play clock ball here. Here's Zeroué. Apropos of nothing, John, you made me think about Potsy. I remember now, it's sort of like a hopscotch game. You draw some chalk, some chalk, and you put them down with some boxes on a sidewalk, and then it's
and
like
then you have to go from one number to another number.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's not a real man's game. Ring-a-levio, that was a man's game.
I thought you were thinking ring around the rosy, pocket full of toast.
That's not a man's game either. 2nd and 7 from the 35. Randall is in the backfield. And he'll take the snap. He'll run with the ball behind Fuamato Ma'afala. Swings to the outside. And he takes it up to the 43. And Bill Cowher can spend the whole season with guys like Randall and Hines Ward. And a lot of trickery.
Yeah, you see what he did? He put Tommy Maddox goes in motion. Takes a quarterback, and he's in the backfield. And then he comes out and goes in motion. And then they snap it to Randall. That's the second time that they did that. They just snap him the ball, and he just finds a hole. And he's an exciting guy. I mean, before this year is over, he's going to make, I think, a bunch of big plays for these Steelers.
Picks up a yeah. Maddox milking the play clock. Fuamato Ma'afala for the strains of Fu, and he breaks one, and that's a first down.
I'll tell you, that warm-up exercise he did really got those three guys going.
I mean, you don't learn those steps at Canyon Ranch, but whatever they're doing, it's worked out, because as we take a look at the star track right now for the Pittsburgh Steelers, well, we were, but we had a mini glitch.
You know that Tommy Maddox has done well, and he's thrown the ball a lot to Plexico Burris, and the running was Jerome Bettis until Zeroué took in, and now we got Fu going, so that's what it is.
1st and 10 from the 42. Zeroué. Well, Tommy Maddox, I keep thinking back, John, to what an unbelievable story this is. Among other things, Bill Cowher said that he was watching the XFL championship game. It's the only XFL game he saw. Tommy looked real good. The announcers were talking about what a great year he had. And then, Maddox was just looking for anybody to bring him into camp and give him an opportunity. And here he is.
Yeah, and, and all 32 teams could have had him. In fact, he said that he sent a letter and then a form letter and faxed it to every team in the NFL.
He led, for what it's worth, he led the league in pass rating in preseason this year. So a lot of action because Cordell Stewart had a concussion as Zeroué picks up a first down. And, Maddox to stay around as long as he had and to keep himself in shape. I mean, how much do you have to love the game? Here are his words.
You won't ever find me griping and complaining about going to work and working out in the off season. I mean, I worked out for 3 years by myself in a high school gym. So, now I got teammates to hang out with and work out with. And so, all those things that I think everybody goes through. I mean, when I was young, I took all those things for granted. That doesn't happen anymore.
Tommy Maddox, who came out after his sophomore year at UCLA. Here's Zeroué. And he gets bunched up by Rob Morris and others. John, I was thinking about Maddox. Well, Troy Aikman played at UCLA through 88. He was the #1 pick in 89. And Tommy Maddox in 90. I think if memory serves, it might have been Rob Johnson's brother who was the guy in between. I think he played 1 year at UCLA. Brett Johnson.
Right, and then Tommy Maddox, as you said, came out his sophomore year. Now, he must have been a redshirt there. I mean, it was really, he was a redshirt, then he played for 2 years. So it was really 3 years of college, but 2 years of eligibility.
And then he was 21 years old when he makes his Monday night debut. He's the youngest quarterback to ever throw a pass in a Monday night game. He did that in 92 as Zeroué takes the flip, and Rob Morris makes the tackle at the 28-yard line. But he is some story in a year of some amazing stories in the NFL. He's right near the top, and his team right now is up by 18 and on their way to a 500 record.
Hiya, honey.
What are you doing here?
I'm taking
Pepsi post-game show coming up at the end of the game. Live interview. Melissa will have somebody from down on the field. We'll have our horse trailer player of the game. You know, it's appropriate to have a Colt on the horse trailer, but it's not going to happen tonight.
No, not tonight. Not the way they play. I mean, it has to be a Steeler, and you know, and their defense has played so well. I mean, it's kind of a whole unit thing. Jason Gilden, I think, has played great with the defensive line, the linebackers, the secondary, the 5 and 6 defensive backs, all those kinds of that. I mean, there's a lot of team play in these Steelers tonight.
3rd down and 8 as they turn in their most impressive performance of the season. And last week, as Zeroway gets taken down, last week they played Cincinnati and were expected to win big, and they did. But tonight they meet a quality opponent, a team that comes in 4-1 and dominate in the first half. Indy tried to get back into the game.
You know, you think of what Bill Cowher said early in the game, we have to get off to a good start, and they sure did.
Good start, good finish. Timeout, Indy. ABC's Monday Night Football being brought to you by Cadillac. Bold vehicles defying convention. Dell, flexible enterprise solutions that are easy to buy, easy to own, easy as Dell. And Wendy's Mozzarella Chicken Supreme. It's chicken on a higher level. Pittsburgh. Bridges across the river. As a 48-yard field goal will be attempted here by Todd Peterson on 4th down with 1:46 left in the game. And Maddox puts it down, and the kick is short. It's no good, and back to bring it out of the end zone is Bashir, and Bashir brings it all the way back out to the 37-yard line.
You got to fight over there. You got to fight over the side.
And a little fight going on. A skirmish. Frustrations being worked out. Of course, every time we see a guy now come out of the end zone, we go back to 3 weeks ago tonight in Baltimore, end of the half. Jason Elam's kick was short, and this turned out to be a 107-yard return by Chris McAllister. Originally that night, scoring had given him a 108-yard return, but our man Steve Hurt went down there with the calipers. And the thing about that, John, is that even if the kick had been run back 107.99999 yards, it's not 108, it's 107.
Right, and that's what Bashir is thinking here. I saw him back there, and I thought of that Monday night play. I thought of that McAllister, you know, and he started up that sideline. It looked like maybe the same thing's going to happen.
Little flip underneath to James, but you don't round it off on a yardage play. In other words, if a field goal is kicked from just inside a hash mark, it goes to the preceding hash mark.
That's right. You were saying 107. I was saying 108.
Right. Even though he was 108 yards back, but the nose of the ball was 107 and maybe a fraction. But it doesn't matter what the fraction is.
So what was it measured with, did you say?
Well, Steve had calipers.
Calipers?
He had a slide rule.
And what kind of guy would carry calipers around? He always has them on his person. That could be, you know, they have a new rule in the NFL. You can't have any foreign objects.
Foreign objects, but Steve was out there. He was during a timeout, and he has a size 12 shoe, so he did it with his feet too.
I would say that calipers would be a foreign object.
Yes, they would be. Don't give Terrell Owens any ideas here.
Or any other NFL player.
Right. You can vote for Monday night's greatest game online, and you can read about Marvin Harrison as well at NFL.com. 4th down and 2 now for the Colts from the 45-yard line. Manning, little shovel dump. And James should have the first down.
See Bill Cowher over there with a smile. That's when you get in this situation when it's 21-10, 30 seconds left in the game. You can show that emotion.
From the 48, this is Kadre Ismail. Flag is down at the line of scrimmage.
I kind of felt before the game that this offense is a good offense and has some great players, but this season has never really gotten in sync, and after this game, I still feel the same way.
Horse trailer player of the game. Well, feel-good stories will always give you a leg up, so to speak, to use a racing term, when a jockey mounts a horse. So what better feel-good story than Tommy Maddox, the old insurance salesman, winding up on the horse trailer. He's our guy.
Yeah, and, you know, it's great to have him because he's having so much fun. I mean, he even said that he's taking nothing for granted anymore, and you watch him in the locker room, and you watch him on the practice field, and everything he's doing is fun.
Edwin James to the 34-yard line.
Okay, this Steeler defense has been hitting and cracking all night. It started that way, and on the last play of the game, they were still hitting the same way.
So the Pittsburgh Steelers, with their newfound quarterback, with the defense living up to expectations, with Bettis performing well, but now he's a question mark with that sprained knee, will move into Baltimore, feeling a lot better about themselves with a record of 3-3 as they beat the Colts 28-10. Back after this. This is the Pepsi post-game show. The horse trailer player of the game, Mr. Tommy Maddox, and he's on the field with Melissa.
All right, now, well, Bill Cowher said he wanted to get off to a fast start, but wow. I mean, you came out here, threw for 188 yards, 2 touchdowns. What was the key to picking apart this defense?
Well, one, the defense came out, made a great stop to start the game, gave us great field position on the block punt. We motioned Hines over and got him on a defensive end, and you know, I was just saying, hurry up and give me the ball, because I felt like we had a good shot. He ran a great route, and we were able to score early, and then the offensive line just, wow, you can't say enough about them. I mean, they just pounded them all night, did a great job, and it's a big win for us, and it was fun to do it on Monday night.
Well, yeah, so successful this team is at home on Monday night. What is it about this atmosphere?
Well, one thing is the great fans. I mean, it's a great atmosphere to play, especially on night games. They come ready to roll. So, you know, it's a great atmosphere. Coach Cowher does a great job of getting us prepared to play, and everybody was excited about this game. They knew it was a big game for us, and so it was fun.
Your story is so unbelievable, just how far you've come and where you are. How much fun are you having?
Oh, I'm having the time of my life. I mean, to be able not only to do this, but to do it with the group of guys that I'm doing it with, you know, we just got to keep this thing rolling. You know, wins are a lot of fun, so we got to keep doing that.
Next week, Baltimore and Ray Lewis, how do you prepare to play against him?
Well, you know, we got to enjoy this one for the short night tonight and then go back to work Wednesday, because we're going to have our work cut out against him and that defense, and just got to figure out a way to put points on the board, and our defense will play well, and hopefully we can win.
Thanks. All right, well, the Steelers are tied for the division lead now with the Ravens.
They are, Melissa, 3-3. Dan Rooney, a very happy owner. Bill Cowher, the happy coach, 10-0 at home on Monday night. 28-10 is the final. Next week to Philadelphia, the Eagles will be hosting the Giants. Now stay tuned for your late local news. Those of you on the West Coast, the Drew Carey Show, followed by Whose Line Is It Anybody? Al Michaels, John Madden, Melissa Stark saying good night from Pittsburgh. ABC Sports Online at ESPN.com. Keyword Monday Night Football. Talk to you next Monday.